Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the previous lesson, we started with Kitab al-Salah. So we started with a little bit of revision. Who revised? Tell me what's the definition of Salah linguistically and the definition of Salah, the Sharia. Put your hands up. Oh, nobody studied.
Check, right?
Tell me.
Salah linguistically means dua, whatever we
Right.
ask the supplication.
Right.
By Sharia, the meaning is a set of actions that starts with takbir and ends with tasbih.
Okay, that's one definition. Well done. Those in the comments also. Ibrahim, Aisha, and others. Well done. Then we started off and we said that the timings of Salah. Right, I'll ask Saeed. This is according to the Hanafi madhab. So we mentioned that there's difference of opinion in most of the Salah except Fajr. And notice how here we were talking about in the last lesson compulsory timings, okay? Why are we differentiating? Because today we'll be speaking about recommended timings, okay? So when it comes to Fajr, Saeed, when does it start? When does it end?
Fajr starts when the second Fajr, when the white,
The true dawn.
how
true
you call
dawn.
it, the white,
The true
the white beam
dawn.
at the
الصبح
light
الصادق.
spreads across the horizon. Yeah.
Up until?
And the end of the time of Fajr is as long as the sun has not yet risen.
Yeah, so sunrise. The time of Dhuhr, Muhammad Yasin, when does it start?
Sheikh, it starts with the zawal time where the sun is at its
And ends?
And ends at there are two opinions. The first one is when the shadow is equal to its length, and when the shadow is twice the length of the object.
Did any of you go out and measure the shadow at Zawal and learn how to measure one length and two lengths? Anybody try?
We once did it with a stick. We once did it with a stick a long time ago.
No, anybody try in the last few days? Try with a stick, a pen, anything, whatever object you use, it will have a shadow. Okay? But if you try with a pen or a stick or something, it's easier to move it. And the time of Asr, who's here? Let's see, Ibrahim, starting time, ending time of Asr. Ibrahim. Asr is double the shadow. So either, if depending on which opinion you're going with, either begins after the double the shadow or after one shadow. And when does it end? Rahim.
Time of Asr starts when the time of Dhuhr expires. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, when the time of Dhuhr expires, depending on either one shadow or two shadow. Okay, and when does it end, Ibrahim? Saeed, when does it end?
As long as the sun is not yet set.
Okay. Maghrib, when does it start, Aisha? When does it start?
When the Maghrib time, when the
Yes,
sun sets.
when the sun sets. And when does it end?
This I don't remember.
We said it. There's two opinions. Who knows, Sayyida? Hold on. Sayyida, do you have an answer?
Not sure.
Muhammad Yasin, Maghrib.
There are two twilight time, either when the sky is red, or the second opinion is when after the red twilight we get the white twilight. When the sun is white, the time of Maghrib finishes.
Yeah, so as you said it correctly second time way, one says until the end of the red twilight, and the other says until the end of the white twilight. Not when the red appears, no, the red disappears. Okay, then Isha, Muhammad Yasin, when does it start? When does it end?
That depends on the end of the red twilight or end of the white twilight.
Correct. And when does it end?
And continues till the before the beginning of the Fajr.
Before the beginning of the Fajr, that's according to one opinion in the Hanafi madhab. Thereafter, those are the main masail. So look at how we took the masail, we took revision, and then inshallah you hold. Now we're speaking about al-awqat al-mustahabbah. These are the recommended timings. So there's a difference. What's compulsory is this much, but is it better? Like let's say, for example, Fajr. The time of Fajr is 1.5 hours long. Any time within the beginning of Fajr up to before sunrise, if you read your Fajr, inshallah, your salah is within time. However, is there a better time to do it or not? Recommended, mustahab. So that's what they start with. So the first is, and notice how, again, that's the Hanafi madhab. When they speak about Fajr, okay, we know compulsory time is from the true dawn up to sunrise. They have an opinion which says, in fact, in the madhab, it says, al-isfaru bil-fajr. Isfar means to read when it's light. So not that the sun has risen, no. If you look at the beginning of Fajr, it's still dark, as-subh as-sadiq. And then after about 30, 40 minutes, you find that, or just before about half an hour before sunrise, it's light. You can see the sun hasn't yet risen. Okay, the sun hasn't risen. So they say for the men, it's recommended to read Salatul Fajr at this time. Obviously, bearing in mind that they then go on to say that if this person, how to know what the time is right, if they're able to read 40 to 60 ayat, okay, in Salatul Fajr, and they had to finish, and just in case they had to repeat the Salah again, they can still repeat it within time. So to make it easy for you, they're saying roughly 20 to 30 minutes just before sunrise, okay? Roughly. Why? Because they have a hadith which they use, and they say the Messenger ﷺ said, Asfiru fi Salat al-Fajr, which means read Salat al-Fajr when the light comes out, so when you can see. Not when, we're not talking about the sun, we're talking about light. And if you've never noticed it, inshallah, you notice it tomorrow at Fajr. And then they say, and notice how it's allowed to read at the beginning of time, but they're saying this is mustahab, this is better. And they say, as for the women, for them, it's better to read at the beginning of time because it's dark. And some of them mention is better for them in terms of their covering, etc. Also, Salah and Jama'ah is not compulsory for the women. So that's when it comes to Fajr. When it comes to Dhuhr, okay, they say that when it's summer, i.e. when it's very hot, okay, when it's very hot, they say here it's recommended to delay the Dhuhr a little bit. So you're still within the time, okay, up until, as long as you're within the time, up until the sun has, the rays have calmed down a little bit, or the heat has subsided a little bit. So let's say, for example, if Salatul Dhuhr is between 12 and 2 o'clock, this is in the peak of summer. If you had to read at 12, the sun is right above, they say it's too hot. So you can delay up to like 1:30, 1:15, like that, for example. And the Messenger ﷺ says in a hadith, abridu, which means look at the cooler timing for Salatul Dhuhr, especially when it's hot. So that's when it's summer, peak of summer. And as for when it's winter, he says it's recommended to read at the beginning of time, okay? Not to delay. Then, when it comes to Salatul Asr, they say that it's always recommended to delay the Salatul Asr as long as the sun hasn't changed. As long as the sun hasn't changed. So what does that mean? Let's say, for example, Salatul Asr starts at 4, okay? And let's say sunset is 6 p.m., for example. So here they say recommended, don't read at the very beginning of time, but let's say at about 5:30, is when the sun starts to become weak. So instead of that strong yellow, you're getting a weaker yellow, a weaker orange. They're saying don't delay it all the way up to this time. It's best to read it, let's say 30 minutes before then. Why do they say that? One of the reasons they mention is so that, let's say, if Dhuhr had to end, if Dhuhr had to be from 2 o'clock and they had to read Salatul Asr at the beginning, 4 o'clock, you've only got 2 hours, okay? Whereas if they had to read at 5, for example, you've got an extra hour where a person can read Nafil Salah in. That's one of the reasonings. And then number 4, when it comes to Maghrib, they say that Maghrib all the time, it's recommended to read quickly, okay? No delaying of Maghrib. So much so, they say that after the adhan, just a few moments and immediately you make iqamah. That's why if you read Maghrib in some of the Hanafi masjids, you find they got no sunnah. They don't give 5 minutes after Maghrib. Immediately after adhan, a few moments later, they make iqamah and they read Maghrib. Okay? And then when it comes to Salatul Isha, again, these are all recommended timings. When it comes to Salatul Isha, they say it's recommended to delay Isha Salah up until the first third of the night. Okay? The first third of the night. Recommended. If you can. So let's say, for example, Isha starts at 8 p.m. and the first third of the night is going to start at 11 p.m. So if you want to read at the beginning time of Isha, it's allowed. But they say that if you can delay it close to here, so for example, 10:30 p.m., you read Salatul Isha, it's better. Why? There's a hadith where the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, once he delayed the Isha Salah, so much so some of the Sahaba, it's mentioned that some of them were, snoozing. And then he came out, he performed the Salah, and he said, if I could, I would delay it. This is the time of Isha. So he recommended, he said it's better to delay Isha. But again, if a person reads within this time is permissible, 8, 9, 10, 11, etc. And then they say, don't delay more than the first third of the night. So they say the second third of the night, it becomes, is permissible. You've missed something. And then the last third of the night, some of them tell you that it's makruh. And they go as far as saying makruh tahrim. So if you keep your Isha within that time. Then number 6, witr. It's best to read your witr in the last part of the night, last third of the night. And it's, if a person feels that they're not going to wake up or too tired, etc., they can read their witr before going to sleep. Okay? So we took awqat mustahabba. These are recommended timings, not compulsory. First lesson was compulsory timings. These are recommended timings according to the Hanafi madhab. Did you understand the difference between the first lesson and the second lesson?
Yes, Sheikh.
Sure, Sheikh.
Huh? No? Oh, yes. Saeed?
Yes, Sheikh.
Yes.
Any
Sure,
questions?
Sheikh. Yes.
Any questions with what we took?
Nope.
These are the first 2 lessons. Usually we start off, we take a little bit, so you guys can revise. And inshallah, next week we'll take a lot more. We're going to move on to Babul Adhan, the calling to prayer. And remember, in all these masail in fiqh, a lot of the times there's difference of opinion in the madhab. Then there's difference of opinion amongst the madhahib. Everybody has their opinions, their evidence, and they all debate as to what they see to be